On today's hot sheet, I'm discussing housing inventory pending home sales and the April PCE report. Today is Monday, June 3rd, 2024. I am Byron Lazine, and the hot sheet starts now. Okay, kind of a big week, pretty big week here. Let me know which market you're tuning in live from as you join this Monday kickoff of the hot sheet, the only live housing update show each and every single Monday through Thursday on the internet, where we look back on the last 24 hours, or like in today's case, the last 3 days of what's most important in the housing market and deliver it directly to you. So whether you're an agent, attorney, lender, or anybody else in the housing market industry, this show is for you. Share this with someone who's in the housing industry, who could be use this as a resource, a daily resource, whether they watch and join us live as we're here today or the replay. Go down below, hit that subscribe button here on the At Now Bam YouTube channel. Love for you to consider going to Apple or Spotify and leaving the hot sheet a review for everybody that does listen to the replay. All right. Why is this a big week? Why is this an important week here in the housing market? Well, it's because we're waiting and waiting for some better news on inflation. I have an update on the PCE data that came out at the end of last week and what that might mean moving forward. But it's a big week because we have a huge job update job report rather, coming at the end of this week. It's that monthly update where we could have anywhere from some projections saying 140,000 jobs, which would continue to show a decline, a softening in the labor market. And then there's others that are, I think Wells Fargo is expecting 190,000. So we'll see what that looks like at the end of this week. That could have huge implications on what will happen with the Fed. Are they actually going to do a cut as early as September? Remember, we were promised 3 this year. We're not likely to see 3 cuts at this point. In fact, there are some people that are out there saying, hey, maybe we shouldn't see a cut at all. Okay. And so there's a lot up in the air. Certainly, the real estate market, we know here, housing, that we've been in a recession for 2+ years. We're now entering the third year, the third calendar year of the slowest, or the lowest rather, sales ever recorded. Yes, that's right. Third straight year of the lowest sales ever recorded. Certainly, when you factor in population and current job climate into that number. We have 3 straight years of just floor sales in our industry. Okay, it's been tough. It's been hard, especially coming off of some numbers that were eye-popping, that were huge. They didn't get to '06 levels on terms of total sales, but they were big numbers, bigger than the preceding decade. Now we're back at the floor. We're back at those low levels. And it seems like, when will we come out of that? Well, we have a pending home sales update for you, and I'll get into that. But as we do every single Monday, let's take a look at inventory. How do we do last week? We want, regardless of how quick things are selling, or how many homes are going to go under contract this month, or go into escrow, or whatever the case may be, we want to see more inventory. This is going to make it easier for the buyers who are in the market. Over time, it'll make it more affordable, because the more inventory that you rack up and the more DOM that comes with it, you will be pressured downward on prices, or at least flattening. Right now, we keep talking about record prices, and that's absolutely true, but it's a lagging number. It's 2, sometimes 3 months old. It's not necessarily what's reflective of how you can sell a house this weekend. We're into June now. What does it take to sell a house today? Does it take getting a lower price? What would it take in a certain community that you're working to get a sale this week? If inventory's up, it might take that. That won't be reflective in prices for another 60 days, 60 to 90 days. Okay. What it takes today and what's actually the prices or the comps are 2 different things. So taking a look here at the last week, we saw weekly inventory change from 594,000. And yes, for the first time in a long time, for the first time in 3 years, we see active inventory cross 600,000. So give the market a round of applause. Would you hit the thumbs up button for that? 604,000 is what we see for active inventory. Okay, a couple of weeks ago, we broke the highest level that we saw for 2023 and 2022. We hit that a few weeks ago. We hit it in May when prior, like last year's peak, took us until the end of October, early November to hit our peak on inventory. This number will continue to go up through the summer. It's why I think there's an outside chance, just looking at the trend line here, that we could get to active inventory of 800,000. Now, in May of 2015, for example, we saw 1.132 million active inventory. So we're a little bit more than half of that number. The number would be like 900,000 if we're looking at 2019. So we're still 300,000 away from that, which is what I consider a pretty normal market. But we are climbing. We're going in the right direction on inventory. 604,000 here in May. Last year's number at this point was 437,000. During the same week last year, we only added 4,000. We added over 10,000 in this same week. So inventory piling up at a more acceptable rate right now. Okay. We're well off of the bottom number in 2022, which was 240,000. That was early 2022 before those rates started to go up considerably. Okay. To where we are obviously today. So inventory, active inventory going good. New listing data continues to obviously beat last year's, which was the lowest number ever recorded. But we're still under 22 now. We've seen almost a full month being under 2022 levels. Remember when that interest rate went up, you saw new listings really hit the market in 2022, and we're not even at that level yet. We're about 7,000 away when you look at last week. So 63,000 plus last week versus 70,000 in 2022. 2023, last year, of course, lowest level ever recorded, 54,000. So thankful to be above that on new listings, but certainly not. We only had 7,000 new listings, and yet active inventory grew 10,000. It's showing you that things are sitting nationally. I know some markets are different. Resi Club just put out Bridgeport being Bridgeport, Connecticut, for example, that region, that metro being the tightest market in the country. You've got one house on the market for every 5 that were available in 2019. Okay, there are some pockets across the country where that is still the case. But generally speaking, across the country, when you look at this thing on its whole, homes are sitting on the market a little bit longer. Okay, and it might be price dependent in your market, whatever the case may be. But new listings versus active inventory across the country here certainly shows that. This is another one that shows that. Price reductions, okay? In a normal market, you'll see 1/3 of homes reduce price before they actually sell. Well, in the past week, you saw 35%. That's a little bit more than the 1/3 number. Last year, it was 30% at this time. In 2022, now we're into June, we're already into when the interest rates had started to go up. It was 24%. So considerably higher than the last 2 years and trending up at this time, right? Price reductions tend to get higher towards the end of the year as people start to, really try to close those deals out before the end of the year, before the winter, before the holiday, before they start typically taking those homes off the market. Okay. Price reductions, 35%. Another indicator that things aren't moving that fast, or as fast rather as they have in recent memory. So they're starting to slow down. They're starting to normalize, I guess would be one way of putting it. And don't confuse people, right? I think one of the big things real estate professionals can do right now is not confuse people into thinking that this market is just like, we just don't have enough homes. If we had more homes, there'd be, we'd see so many sales. For the third year, okay, as I mentioned, homes are at the all-time low for sales. We are in a real estate recession. Okay, we will see what that's going to look like when rates do someday come down. Okay, but when you look at, and here's from the Housing Wire report, the market report, It's the third calendar year with the lowest home sales ever. This is when you adjust to the current workforce. Okay. So let's not confuse people that if we just had more inventory, right? I talked about last week, the report that it just came out that we're 1.5 million homes short of a normal 1.5 million units. Half of that is homes, half of that is rental supply. Okay, so there's deeper context to that to be a normal market. So that 7 million number everybody was talking about a couple of years ago, you're not hearing that as often. Okay, you're not hearing that if we just had a whole bunch of inventory come onto the market, that it would get snapped up immediately. It's also reflective in just basic mortgage demand. We're much lower than 22 and much lower than 23. Mortgage demand, the season of mortgage demand drops off every year after May. Okay, you can even see it these last couple of years. After the season is over and it starts to drop off. Now, because we've been so low this year, the drop off might not be as steep is the argument. And certainly if you got some kind of 30-year fixed mortgage rate headwind of like going down to 6.5, like I don't know how, however that could happen. If that were to happen, you might see a pop in mortgage applications because they are so low. But this is the truth about demand. The next 60, 90 days, the demand isn't considerably strong. I wouldn't call this strong. I'd actually call demand in housing somewhat weak. I mean, we've had if I'm going to actually be truthful, we've had 3 straight years of the lowest sales ever when adjusted for the workforce. You see mortgage application doing nothing but going down. Every single month over month, year over year stat shows that. Sales are down, everything, so why would I say that demand is over the next 90 days is robust? It's strong. It's unaffordable, which has created a burden on demand. It's created this massive slowdown. If there's long-term demand, there's dreams out there to have home ownership. There's a desire and a thirst for home ownership. Nassau County, 2.3 months of inventory. Yes, lower than the 3.5 nationally. In the Northeast is the last pocket not experiencing that inventory tick up, right? But the demand is out there long term. The dream is out there long term. And by the way, Nassau County, New England, these areas, we always get caught up in, oh, well, I don't have the inventory. It's coming. It always hits the rest of the country before it hits the Northeast. It is coming. So, I mean, if you're a powerful listing agent, enjoy that leverage right now, as you have it, but it won't always be there. These market shifts happen, and they will happen everywhere, just as we've seen. Yes, Nassau County. Bobby is a big Nassau County or Long Island guy. All right, enough of the Long Island talk. Let's go into pending home sales. There's an NAR report. This further explains what I'm talking about here, about this demand, about this confusion for how much demand is really out there. April, we would say, is like a peak moment in the spring market. It's March, it's April. These are the time frames when you would expect the most home sales. Okay. Well, this April, National Association reports that pending home sales slumped 7.7%. Contract signings retreated in every region compared to the previous month and compared to 1 year ago. Midwest and West experiencing the largest monthly declines. Okay. 7.7% in April, when you would expect things to be higher. Now, everybody, NAR and their chief economists is blaming just simply the interest rate. The interest rate has been around now since mid 22 in this elevated 7+% level. I think it's more of the wear and tear and the time, the length that this interest rate has pounded on the consumer, while other factors have been pounding on the consumer. Okay. I think it's a combination of both. The index, which a normal index would be relative to 2001, would be 100. The index right now for pending home sales is 72.3. Month over month, down 7.7%. Northeast, where you've got the least inventory, had the lowest drop at 3.5%. But the Northeast index is more pathetic than almost every index outside of the West. It's at 62.9, the West being at 55.9. Month over month, 8.5% decline in the West. So the West getting worse. The Midwest is 70.7. So month over month, 9.5% decline on pending home sales. The South, which has the strongest index at 88.6 compared to 2001, still showing that there's desire, there's migration happening to the South when you compare pending home sales to 2001 levels. But even the South down 7.6 month over month. These are big drops for the month of April. I'm not going to sugarcoat this for you guys. I know there's a lot of people out there. I'll even use the word coach speak that'll just try to always go glass half full. This is the reality of the market. And telling people, especially having conversations with sellers around pricing that's reflective of record pricing 2-3 months ago, and not bringing up these factors that we're at now 3 years of the lowest sales recorded when you calculate workforce, when we're now in a declining pending sale environment, when we're supposed to be peak pinnacle pending prices, when we have mortgage demand lower than at any point in the last 3 years. Okay. Those are factors I want to present to a seller to give them the reality of what's going on, the reality of what this market actually is, so that you price to sell for this month, June of 2024, and not the record prices that Case-Shiller is reporting for March of 2024. Some people believe just putting a sale on the ground and waiting for the right buyer to come along is the strategy of selling listings, while others believe actually educating folks on the right price so they can maximize price is important as well. And if you're in that camp, these are the data points, these are the conversations that are likely important. All this data you can use to help you on those conversations, whether that's going to be communicating with your database through text or email or what have you. It's all available for you inside of BAMX. Every single day we put out our hot sheet show notes, which are available inside of BAMX. You can copy and paste this information to make it easier for you to have these conversations. Okay, you can get into BAMX by using code HOTSHEET to grab a 10% off of BAMX. Here are the monthly declines and year-over-year declines for each regional breakdown. 3.1% Northeast year over year. So not only month over month down, but year over year is down for pending home sales. So no matter which way you look at it, these numbers are coming down. Year over year, Midwest 8.7. Year over year in the South 8.2. Year over year in the West 7.3. So year over year and month over month are kind of similar per each region. Okay. There you go. That's the pending home sale data. That, along with, again, the mortgage application data, the closed data, shows us that we are still in this real estate recession, haven't come out of it yet. It's going to take, I think the rates are going to have a lot to do with it. Part of the problem with waiting for the rates is you're also probably waiting for a labor market to break. It's why this week is so important, that jobs data, because the Fed hasn't shown much indication of being willing to cut the federal target interest rate until the labor market really softens, meaning more people lose their jobs. Okay. We did get a little bit of good news at the end of the week when we saw the Fed's favorite inflation target, or favorite inflation data point, being the PCE. All right. So the PCE came in at 0.2%. That's the lowest level we've seen in months. Okay. This isn't it. Let me see if I can find it. Here's the percent change in PC price index from going all the way back to a year ago. So we're now finally under 3% on the PCE, 0.2% for the month of April being the lowest we've seen in months. But the Fed has indicated that they are looking for, we're at 2.8% from a year ago, which is good. The Fed is saying that they want to see consistent months. This is the indication from some of the FOMC members, consistent months at levels like this before considering a cut. So just because we hit one good month or one good data point doesn't mean we're anywhere out of the woods. They're saying they want to see more consistency, more signs. There are some that believe this is a sign that we're still experiencing sticky inflation. It hasn't come down soon enough for some, while others are saying, hey, this is an indication, along with the softening job market and the state of the consumer, that yes, we need to start cutting now. So you do have different camps. There's no indication that at the next meeting there's going to be a rate cut. So we don't expect that to happen anytime soon. Here was some information from the Wall Street Journal at the end of the week. Stock indexes were mixed Friday afternoon after the release of the Fed's preferred inflation gauge, the PCE. The core April PCE, which excludes volatile food and energy prices, rose to 2% that I mentioned. It's 2.8% year over year. Both numbers were close to economists' expectations. So that's better. We're getting more data points that are close to expectations as opposed to quarter one in 2024, when we just kept getting hotter inflation data, above expectations. Having these close are good. The Chicago Business Barometer, which also came out the end of the week, declined by more than economists expected to the lowest level in 4 years, a sign of declining business activity. Europe, which we had just shared, a few weeks ago, some parts of UK, for example, had showed declining inflation. Europe, though, now core inflation accelerated in May. European Central Bank was expected to start cutting rates next week, but now could force it to slow down as well. Okay, so that was just like a recap there from Wall Street Journal at the end of the week. The end of the week also brought us a lower U.S. 10-year Treasury, which helped out the 30-year fixed there at the end of the week. This is the 5-day look back on the 10-year Treasury. You can see we're kind of back to where we were about 5 days ago. And in between there, we rose up to over 4.6. We're back to 4.45. A little bit more of a manageable number. When you look at the 30-year fix dropped down on Friday to 7.17 off of the 7.3 number that we experienced from the 3 days prior. The weekly came in over 7 again at 7.03 for the Freddie Mac 30-year fixed weekly. So continuing to hover there over 7%. All right. Here, that's your kickoff here for the week. Couple of things we've got coming up this week. We do have on Wednesday a webinar. That's going to be with Luke Cree from Reminder Media, and that will be Wednesday. Okay. On Thursday, I am doing a live YouTube event. There will be a link down below so you can sign up to get a reminder for that. The YouTube event is objection handling for live phone calls. Myself, Tom Toole, and Ben Balak are going to be doing that. That'll be Thursday at 3:00. That's absolutely free. Just register to get the reminder, and you'll be able to see that. So live objection handling, some of the things you should be saying to help educate customers through this particular landscape. Also, if you haven't done so already, grab your BAM Mania ticket. We're still in early bird pricing phase. It's going to be on October the 18th at Circle Las Vegas. It's one of the most ridiculous venues in all of Vegas. It's on the Fremont Street. It's brand new. It's just unbelievable. They got that mega TV outside in the pool area. Early bird pricing still available right now. BAM X members, you get 25% off. There's also a VIP experience for that. So grab your tickets below before those prices exit out of early bird pricing phase. That link will be available down below, whether you're on the replay or here on the live. All right. Hope everybody has a great week. I will see you back here tomorrow on the hot sheet, 9:30 on the east, 6:30 on the west. You know the deal in between. Until then, toodaloo.